Hi there, my name is Kayla Johnson, and welcome to my Module 1 presentation for ACTE 699. All right, so a little bit about me. I live in Palmyra, PA with my husband, Mark. We have a 1-year-old Weimaraner named Bruin. We are Boston Bruins fans, so we decided to name him after our favorite hockey team. We also have a 1-year-old rabbit. Her name is Opal. And just last spring, I took in 9 chickens. So we have 2 roosters and 7 hens. So we get a plethora of eggs every single day from all of our hens. And it's pretty awesome. Recently, I started fostering dogs through an animal rescue based out of Delaware County, PA. And the rescue is called Positive Vibes Animal Rescue. I had a 6-week-old puppy around Christmas time who I helped to get adopted by one of my former colleagues from an elementary school that I worked in a few years ago. So it's always fun getting the puppies in and then also putting them in good homes. Some of my hobbies include crafting and repurposing furniture with Annie Sloan chalk paint. So I have a picture here of one of the pieces that I redid over the summer. And I love being outdoors with my husband, Mark. We go fishing, kayaking, hiking all the time. We live in the woods, so we're constantly outside just being in nature. So it's one of my favorite things to do. I currently teach first grade in the Lebanon School District at Northwest Elementary School. I'm in my 4th year of teaching. I am responsible for teaching all content areas: math, reading, science, social studies, writing. This year we have a heavy emphasis on reading. Our superintendent, this is his 2nd year in our district, and one of our initiatives for this year and the next 4 years is a relentless culture of reading. So we recently adopted a new reading program called ARC, which is American Reading Company. And the program itself is actually called Independent Reading. So it's been quite a challenge for me this school year, but I can already see a crazy improvement in my students in their reading abilities. They're just reading now, way more now than they have in the past 4 years that I've been teaching. So it's pretty awesome. In the master's program through Millersville, I am in the STEM concentration, and this is my last class, so I will graduate in May, and I'm so excited to be finished. I have loved the journey and loved all the information that I've learned, but I'm definitely ready to be done. So looking ahead here at the questions that we had to answer, what area of research will be the most difficult? Well, I think for me that the collecting the data will be the most challenging for me, or the most difficult. I feel like just with the limited time to complete the research, like we only have 15 weeks to do this class, and as I was looking at the syllabus last night, each section of what we're supposed to do is broken down into a timeline. So hopefully that timeline will help me get the research completed, but I am worried about that the most. Also, the inability to control what happens with the students in my classroom. I felt like that really resonated with me from the chapter because the woman who was in chapter 1 couldn't control her students and what they would do on a daily basis. So I have 29 first graders in my class this year. It's the most students that I've ever had. And sometimes I feel like once one behavior pops up and I diffuse that situation, then another student gets set off. So I'm worried about collecting the data and being able to control what happens with my students. Eliminating bias, because I put my entire heart into my teaching profession. So hopefully I don't put any bias in with my data collection or the interpretation of the data. So I think that might be a little difficult for me. And also just making sure my sample size is adequate enough to gather a decent amount of data. We're coming into the time of the school year where we have delays, late starts, early dismissals because of snow, weather, lots of absentees because of cold and flu season going around. So I'm kind of worried a little bit about that. All right, question number 2. What obstacles do you see with making an action research a daily practice? So again, going back to those daily student behaviors, my large class size, Time limitations is a huge one this year. I hardly have any time to do STEM projects. STEM is my concentration in this program, and it just hurts my heart so much that I hardly have any time to teach the fun STEM inquiry-based activities that I've taught the past few years because our relentless culture of reading has taken a huge precedence over anything that we're doing. Also, pacing. So I need to move my students quickly. They come to me at the beginning of the school year knowing most of their letters, most of their sounds, and by the end of the school year, they should be reading, a crazy amount of words according to our Dibbles passages. So I think that that's going to be really challenging, especially with trying to incorporate some of the action research into a daily practice. Lastly, which story from Farron's resonates with you as a teacher? So I thought Rebecca's story really resonated with me because I can actually put myself in her shoes. I work in Lebanon School District. We are an urban district with a large population of English language development students. And they are in my classroom almost the entire day. They only get pulled out for 30 minutes. They're level 2. I have 6 level 2 students and 2 level 1 students. So those 6 level 2 students who have basic understanding of English, it's challenging for me to try and make adaptations for them. So I totally understand where she's coming from in trying to mend the gap between their home language and their language that they're learning here in English. We have this major push for ELD students to remain in the general education population, which is totally fine, but we also don't have that many hands that are available to push into our classrooms. So I could see myself conducting interviews with my young first graders about their reading abilities and the strategies that work for them, because I really feel like that might be an awesome way to gather insight into their minds as to how they go about reading strategies. So some of my concerns about conducting action research is my students' ability to describe their own thinking. Because I do have first graders, it makes it difficult for them to put sometimes what they're thinking in their head out into words. So that might be a little difficult. Student behavior, like I mentioned before, I do have 29 students, lots of behavior problems this year, so we'll see how that all pans out for me. Again, absenteeism and time management can also be challenging for me to conduct this action research. So I thank you for watching my video, and I'm looking forward to the next 14 weeks. I really think that I'm going to learn a lot of information not only about my students but myself as a teacher. So although it might be challenging, I definitely think that this action research class is going to help me become a much better teacher. Thank you, and hope you all have a great week.